Welcome to Shaped by Faith with your host, Theresa Rowe. To find out more about Shaped by Faith and Theresa Rowe, please visit shapedbyfaith.com or visit the YouTube channel, Facebook, or Instagram. And now, here is Theresa Rowe.
Welcome to Shaped by Faith. We shape our bodies and hearts for God's purposes. I have a special guest on Shaped by Faith today. He is a Christian hip-hop artist, Tyler Logsdon. He goes by, is it T-Log?
T-Log, yes ma'am, you got it.
Where did that come from, Tyler?
Yeah, very simple. It was actually a well thought thing whenever I was trying to figure out my rapper name or artist name. And I was like, you know what? Like in high school and life, all my friends just called me T-Log. My last name's Logs and first name's Tyler. They just shortened it up. I was like, you know what? That's my rapper name. So we just rolled with it.
It makes perfect sense. Tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up and where you are now.
Yeah, so I grew up in a very small town in Kentucky, Bardstown, Kentucky. It's about an hour south of Louisville. And honestly, there's not much to say about it. It's just a small town. If you know what small town life is like, then you understand what I mean when I say that. It's just everybody kind of knows everybody, rumors fly. And when you're from where I'm from, you kind of go to school, go to college, and then come back and find a job here. And it's just a very kind of cut to the chase type of life. Not much to do, but we all, it's a close-knit community.
That's right. Do you like wave to people as they go by or put your finger up like when you're like, hey, we do that?
Yes, we do. And you know who drives what car and everything else. And you're seeing people, you go out in public into town, you're seeing somebody you know about every time. So
I always joke that we have deer on our farm, and it's like they look up at me when I'm driving up the driveway and I'm just like waving. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just waving to the deer. They're just standing there. They know our car. So I love it. I love a small town. We live in a small town, Calhoun, Kentucky, more of a farming community. And I just love, and I was telling you this before, I love that I can do my radio show out of my home. I can do podcasts. We can film the show. It's just amazing what God has planned out for each one of us. Where did your love for the music industry come in? Like, were you young or when did that happen?
Yeah, so I guess for me, it kind of was a developing thing, just across the span of my life. I'm 24 now, and I just always loved music. To me, it was a lot deeper than just listening to a cool beat or a cool sound. Like I was very in tune with lyrics and content and like feeling something with music. And so I invested a lot into music growing up. And when opportunities arose for me to actually write music and make music on my own, I kind of just fell in love with this fact that I could create. And that happened, I would say, somewhere in between like middle of high school to college. I kind of realized that, maybe this is something I can do.
That's awesome. Okay, so what genre of music did you enjoy?
Yeah, so that's another thing. I like to tell people that I'm probably the most like Swiss Army knife type of human they'll meet. I'm a Christian rapper, but I'm from Kentucky and drive a truck and love to fish. And I enjoy country music. I enjoy worship music. I enjoy rap music. But to answer, growing up, I really loved hip hop and rap. I did. Unless it was in the car on the way to school listening to K-Love with mom. But I would say I grew up on rap would be the main genre.
Okay, who inspired you the most in the music industry?
Yeah, NF. There's a rapper named NF. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he isn't necessarily in the Christian hip hop genre, but he is a devout follower and he makes his own rap music that's not explicit, it's clean. But he's a very lyrical person. He kind of pours his heart out in the music, and the lyrical content that I was talking about, like that's something that really inspired me whenever I started out, and really just whenever I found my love for music. So
music is very healing in so many different ways. When you talk about lyrics, it could be the lyrics that speak to a person. It could be the beat. It could be the tune, whatever it is. But it definitely does just that. Like when I teach fitness classes, I'm listening for the beat, But then my fitness students like the lyrics. So
Yep.
I play all Christian contemporary music, and they really key into the lyrics. And they're like, hey, that song that you just played, who was that? And I'm like, what song? It's like,
Yep.
it's funny how we all listen differently, but it speaks to us, it touches our hearts. So, when did you start to get serious about music? Was it in high school or college?
So I would say like Mm, to answer that, I'll give a two-part. In
Mhm,
high school is when I seriously thought about having fun with music and making it a hobby, like freestyling with friends at lunch or going on YouTube and finding beats to write music with. I was really good at poetry and literature, and I
mhm,
turned that over to writing music. When I got to college and the opportunity presented itself for me to actually create a real song to put out on streaming platforms,
mhm.
that's when it became real for me, and it got serious because I put that out just not thinking anything of it, my first song, and it it's kinda strange because now it is something that's, like, my life, and it's still kinda my approach is, this is just something that I love to do, it's just a hobby, it's like a it's real, but it's a hobby, and it's something that I use to outwardly express myself of what's going on in my heart and my mind, so, in college, whenever I keyed into actually being able to create it, that's when it became serious.
That's awesome. So that is your passion. So how did you know, like when you write lyrics, do you feel God's inspiration in the lyrics? Do you use your own personal experiences? Is it a combo of everything, or how does that work when you write?
Yeah, absolutely. I would certainly say it's a combo. There are songs that I have that, you know, are littered with biblical words and scripture and references. Every song that I've created is worship unto the Lord. It is glorifying to Him. But what I mean is, there's others that you hear the Bible terms, you hear the words I may use that reference Christianity. But there's other songs that I've made that are more life related, personal things, expression of what's going on in my life, opposed to just preaching the scripture through the song. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
it does.
So I would say it's a good combo, and I truly let the Holy Spirit just kinda guide me in how I write every song regardless of what experience it's based off of.
What about your rapping? Like, did you decide, I really love this? I mean, because that's a skill set for sure. That's a gift. Not everyone can pull that off.
Yeah, it's, definitely takes a lot of breath control. Um, I think just growing up on rap and, learning that music is poetic, but rap music is so intricate when it comes to wordplay and rhyme scheme and those types
Mhm.
of things. Learning that I could take the literature approach and put it into rap music and then like just practice freestyling, train myself how to, say a bunch of words quickly or whatever it might be, and just like venture through these avenues of different rhyme schemes and flows and types of things. It's just something I found a lot of fun and a challenge for myself, but also that I found that I was pretty good at.
Mhm.
And I now look at it and I see it as a gift from the Lord to be able to do it and convey the gospel through it. And so that's kind of what's driven my love for it and
Absolutely.
and motivated me the most.
It's sort of like poetry in motion. God gave you the gift of writing. God gave you the gift of putting words together, in a rhyming way. So, I mean, just look at you now. I mean, you're really young, 24. What audience do you want to reach with your music?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. My heart definitely goes out to the youth,
Mhm,
100%.
mhm.
Just because I know what it's like in recent times, within the last 10 years, I know what it's like to be a youth and
Right.
striving for purpose and hope and more and on this search for independency and God and figuring life out. And for me, it's like that's just where my heart is. And really, that's kind of expanded as of late from youth to young adults. And really, there's this realization that God has shown me that He's used the music I've created, that He's given me to reach all kinds of demographics, whether it's youth or um, people like my parents' age or whatever it might be. Like I've noticed that the music has been able to impact people of all age groups. And so really now it's kind of shifting more towards, yes, I'm so strong on the youth, in my heart approach towards them, but it's like I just want to create for whoever wants to listen and whoever can be impacted by it. And I just give that to God to let him decide.
That's wonderful. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Shaped by Faith, so everyone stay tuned. Welcome back to Shaped by Faith. We shape our bodies and hearts for God's purposes. My guest today is Christian hip hop artist Tyler Logsdon, who goes by T-Log, and you're so refreshing to talk to, Tyler. Your faith, it seems as though you have this yearning, this desire to want to please God, to want to do what he has called you to do at a young age. How do you keep building upon your faith, and have you always had a strong faith in God?
Yeah, so to me, I've just found to fall more in love with his word. Um, God's word is his love letter that he's given us. And to disregard his word when it comes to our faith and building our faith, I would argue is to just put up a roadblock in our growth. And so trying to learn more about his word, fall more in love with it, study it more, hold myself accountable to put my connection with him over everything else, every other title, whatever it is. I did grow up in a Christian household most of my life. I would say that growing up, though, from the first probably, I guess it was 14 to 15 years of my life, my family raised me on Christian values, but we weren't necessarily dedicated to walking the Christian life as best as we should. I was more concerned with pleasing my parents and obeying them and just being a good kid than I was obeying God and following in what I said my faith was.
Mhm.
And so as that's developed over the years since I've given my life to him 10 years ago, I've learned that the word is essential. Just training yourself in the word, studying it and allowing yourself to be mentored by others who have gone before you.
That is so good. Did you have a mentor in your life, like in younger years?
Yeah, so I would actually say that my dad has been my biggest mentor.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because he would even tell you that he didn't get saved or give his life to the Lord until 2018. Um, but really, him paired with my mom, they raised me on what it means to be a Christian. And my mom was always the just rock of my faith. She's just been my everything growing up when it comes to the faith. And dad learned from himself, from those around him, from mom, uh,
Mhm.
and in his own spiritual growth, what it looks like to raise me as a Christian, as someone who's supposed to love the Lord. And so as we've both grown in our faith over the years, from childhood all the way through now, we've kind of progressed together at the same time. And him being able to be that mentor to me in life, as someone who's been through all the things, he kind of, I know he's my dad, but he's kind of just been that for me. And, I've had great preachers and pastors around me and stuff, but
Sure.
consistent pouring into him. And then I would say, my old pastor, brother Gary, he's been amazing in my life. So
How
yeah.
important is it for us to have someone to disciple us?
Oh, it's so important. It's biblical. It's Jesus's command, right?
That's
In
right.
Matthew 28, the Great Commission, he says, "Go and make disciples, um,
Mhm.
baptizing in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit." And it's really something I think the church maybe even overlooks, is training others up, discipling others. I think it's beautiful that we put so much emphasis on the gospel and
Right.
doing what we can to make sure this world knows Jesus. But I find it very important as well that we have to be mentored. We have to mentor others. We have to be discipled and disciple others and make disciples like Jesus commanded. And that's really what I've learned a lot in the past 2 years, probably.
And I'm sure a lot of people, as they hear your music, especially the youth, and they have that desire to want to know Christ and go, hey, he's singing about this or that and his relationship with Jesus. And, I want that relationship. It's important for us to step up and to see who's in our path, asking God, who do you want me to disciple? please show me, and to step up and do it. I think so many people have taken kind of a seat like, oh, I'm retired, or, I'm past that, but we're never past that. We should
Right.
all be stepping up regardless of our
Yeah.
age. Let's talk about your first song, your
Yeah.
recorded song. What was that?
Yeah. So my first song I put out is a song called KY Boy. You can appreciate it in a certain way that others can't. I wrote it about just being from Kentucky in a way.
I like
Um, in my personal experience growing up, I'll tell you at least that if you listen to that song compared to my stuff now, it's awful. But nonetheless, it's what started everything, and there are people that like it. It's actually one of my most streamed songs for some reason. I don't know, but nonetheless, I'm grateful that I made it. It set the foundation for creating music legit in my life, and I wrote it about just being a guy from Kentucky in a small town who loves basketball, and just kind of a testimonial song to introduce the world, like kind of who I am, I guess.
I
So,
think that's great. So you got a good response from that one?
yeah, yeah, I got a pretty good response, and me and buddies will joke about it now. Not that it's like the worst thing ever, but just comparative to the growth in my life over
Mhm.
music over the last couple years, because it's been 2.5 years now. It's just funny to look back on from a musical sense of like production and the way that I rap. And like I remember when I went to record that song, my buddy Chandler Letner was the one that produced it, and I got into the studio and I started rapping for the first take on the first recording, and it just came out so monotone and like relaxed. He was like, "Bro, you gotta rap, dude." He's like, "You gotta attack this thing," and it was a big learning process for me. But I'm very grateful for it and all that it's been for setting the way, I guess, for this.
That's right.
this
There's got to be that first, that first song I remember when I did my first DVD, and I just thought, oh, this is so good. And I look back now, I'm like, oh gosh, we learn as we grow and practice more and more and more. So how did you get to become a recording artist? I mean, that's a big deal. How did
Yeah,
that
so
happen for you?
God, God is
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
answer.
How did God
Um,
open those doors for you?
the he, gosh, he's so good.
He
And
is.
I'm so blessed by what he did. But Chandler, the guy that I told you recorded or helped me record KY Boy, he came to me whenever he found that I had the interest of making music, and he said, "Hey, like, why don't you let me just produce a few songs for you?"
Mhm.
Just gave me a great favor. He's like a brother to me, and I said, "You know what? Let's do it. It's fun. I enjoyed it." And we did it, and I put that song out not expecting or thinking anything of it.
Mhm.
And I had someone reach out to me in the music industry, and she was um, like she kind of helped run a festival, a talent manager,
Mhm.
whatever. And she said, "Hey, I'm so and so. This is what I do. This is my thing. I really want to invest into what God's doing in your life. I really like your song."
Wow.
Excuse me. And she was like, "I want to help you on this journey." And so I responded, and we just developed this really awesome bond and friendship.
Mhm.
And she didn't necessarily become um the anchor or the like front factor for me making or creating music. Rather,
Mhm.
she was one of the first people in like a music industry setting who believed in me and gave me the motivation to say, "Hold on, wait, like God can use this. I can actually like do this as love letters to God and as expression of what he's done in my life and help people." And so I just kept making more songs, and people caught on, and
Mhm.
the Lord started at work, and I just submitted it to him, and now here we are. I'm technically, I guess, a recording artist, and it's crazy. It's crazy. The progression of it. I say it's God because
Yeah.
it's something that I didn't push or like strive after or like really key in on. Though I loved it and I was intentional, it's
Mhm.
not something that I just like it's all I cared about and wanted to do in life. I worked hard, but it wasn't my
Right.
main goal. And now God's like, "Hey, my son, like do this. This is how you're going to share the gospel."
Oh, that's encouraging. You didn't try and force those things to happen. You just let God take it, and then here you are now. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and take another break, and we will be
sure.
right back with more Shaped by Faith. Everyone, stay tuned. Welcome back to Shaped by Faith. Tyler Logsdon, T-Log, Christian hip hop artist, is with me today. Tyler, I love your heart for the Lord. I love that you follow him and that you listen to him and that you're a voice. You know, you have a voice and a platform to point other people to Jesus. Okay, so let's talk about your new single that was just released, Full House Freestyle. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's my favorite song that I've ever written. And it came from a spot of I got my producer and he sent the beat over. And when I go into writing a new song, I just kind of think about, okay, what can I write about this time, or what can I take from the Bible and apply, or my life and apply. And I started writing some lyrics on it, and I
Mhm.
showed a friend of mine. He's in music as well, and he goes, "Bro, hold on. Why don't you just make a song where you kind of drop the Christianese, like the Bible terms and the big words and the things?" He's like, "Why don't you just rap about what God's doing in your life and your experience, and just be fully, completely you on the track?" And that's what I try to do every song. But he said that to kind of spark something in me to say, like, hey, like, you don't have to just make every song have Jesus in it, Christian in it, faith, like all the joy, hope, love, all those words, like just rap about some real life stuff. I said, you know what? I like that. And it's called Pool House Freestyle. I'm actually in the pool house right now at my home.
Are
And
you really?
I am. I'm in the pool house here at home where the song was inspired. And I
Oh,
just
that's
remember
awesome.
sitting in here, and when he told me that, I started writing. And you know what? I was like, hold on, let's just tell people like where rap started for me, or what life is like. Like, what's my perspective on life? How have the times changed? And it just became a real song where it was like, man, I just want to address the realism of life, and not
Mhm.
the persona that a Christian holds with that title. Like, let's just talk about real life and experiences, and I can show you God's glory, and I can show you what he's done in my life without making up all the cool Christian terms in the lyrics in those ways. So,
Yeah, sometimes we lose people when we do bring up the Christian terms or the lingos. I remember as a kid when I heard saved, I had not a clue what that meant. I was a kid, and I was too embarrassed to ask. Just like, okay.
yeah.
So I didn't find out till later in life when I became a Christian at the age of 26. So I love that. Okay, so you've got an upcoming tour, right? Tell us about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, Invasion Tour. Another insane God thing. I honestly probably shouldn't even be on that lineup, but I can say that I should because it was God's plan. So I
Right.
say I shouldn't know, just because like where I'm at in my career with music and Christian rap. I don't know. It's just like God opens these doors and makes these connections without me trying to force it or push the agenda, and I just want to steward them well and glorify him in it. And
Mhm.
that's how this popped up as well. My management came to me, and they just presented the opportunity to go on this tour. So thank you, Drello and Invasion Tour. If y'all are watching this, man, I'm excited. And we leave October 29th, and it's just a Christian rap tour. We're going. I'm playing in 5 different cities. I actually have to cut the tour short and leave and come home because I'm the best man in my best friend's wedding.
Oh,
He tried to
congratulations.
he tried to get me to stay out. Thank you. He tried to get me to stay out on the road, but I was like, dude, you're crazy if you think I'm gonna miss your
Oh,
wedding and I'm your best man. So I'll be
oh.
cutting it short, but I'm eternally grateful for the time I will have. And it was a God thing that presented itself through connections.
Mhm.
So yeah.
What do you want your listeners and your audience to take away from your music?
Yeah, a couple things. I just want them to listen to my music and hear Jesus. I just want them to hear Jesus and understand Jesus through whatever I rap about. Uh, and my main focus that I want people to pull from my music about me is that there's no platform that you could ever be on that's a step up from the highest platform that you could ever sit on.
Mm.
And the highest platform you could ever sit on is at the feet of Jesus in the throne room. And I heard a saying like this. The last thing I'll say is, every time I step up on a stage, I'm taking a step down, because I'm taking a step down from sitting with God, and there's no higher place that I could be. And that's what I want people to understand from my music, is that there's no higher place they could be. There's no cool rap song that they could listen to that would be ever more intimate than just sitting with God. But I want my music to be a driving factor in their lives, to seek Jesus, to seek sitting with him, to go spend time with him and in his word, and just to learn his love for them through everything that I rap about.
That's so good. Tell us about your ministry, Miles by Faith.
Yeah, Miles by Faith was developed by me and my dad earlier this year, and it's really simple. Just every mile that I travel, every place I go, every step I take, let it be done by faith. I just want to walk with a faith, with a blind understanding of saying, man, God, I don't know where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do all the time, but I just want to look with my head up, with my eyes up and my knees down, reflecting upon you, looking at the cross, and just taking step by step toward that cross, toward glory, with faith everywhere I go.
So good. So Tyler, where can we find your music? I just mentioned, was that your website, Miles by Faith?
Yes, it is. So I believe it's milesbyfaithministries.com. Is this the full URL? So that's our website, and you can go and learn. I also have an artist website. It's just tlogmusic.com.
Okay.
So I kind of have two separate entities. You have the ministry, which is kind of all things that I've been doing personally, and then T-Log is all music stuff related.
Okay.
But yeah, you can find my music on any streaming platform, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, anywhere you listen to music. Just search T_LOG and you'll find my music.
Okay, Tyler, it's been such a pleasure. I love Big Blue Nation behind you in your pool house. Love that. Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue.
Yeah, but thank you so much. It was a great interview, Tyler. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. And thank you for listening. I'm Theresa Rowe. Everyone have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Shaped by Faith with Theresa Rowe. Remember to visit shapedbyfaith.com to find out more about workouts, the TV show, podcasts, blogs, Shaped by Faith products, and much more.